Sarah, a journey through laughter and faith. The desert wind whispered through the dry grass as Sarah sat outside her tent, watching the sun disappear behind the hills. Her face marked with time, her hair silver like moonlight. Her thoughts wandered through the years, the long journey from Ur, the silent nights, the promises unfulfilled. She had followed her husband Abraham through deserts and doubts. And yet, the ache in her heart remained, the child she never had. From within the tent, she heard Abraham's voice, low and earnest in prayer. He spoke of the covenant again, of descendants as numerous as the stars. Sarah turned her face away, tears threatening to fall. She had heard this promise before. Each time it returned like a bird flying over a barren field, no place to land, no life to nurture. It was a day like any other when three men appeared. Abraham rushed to greet them, offering bread and rest. Sarah stayed behind the curtain of the tent, listening. One of the men spoke words that stunned her. "I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah your wife shall have a son." She laughed, quietly, bitterly. She was old. Abraham was older. A son. Now, that night, Sarah sat alone under the stars. Her laughter lingered like a secret in the wind. It wasn't mockery. It was the fragile laugh of someone afraid to hope. She remembered the years she had wept, pleaded, bargained. And now, at 80, this strange promise came again. "Shall I indeed bear a child, now that I am old?" She whispered. But deep inside, something trembled. Was it hope? A week later, a traveler passed through their camp. Before he left, he turned to Sarah and said, "Blessed are those who believe the Lord will do what he has promised." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Had he known her thoughts? Her doubts? The words echoed the divine promise. She stood there long after the traveler had gone, clutching the edge of her shawl. Sarah knelt in the sand one evening, her face lifted toward the heavens. It had been decades since she'd spoken to God alone. But now, something inside her stirred. A flicker of faith, a fragile flame. "Lord," she said, voice trembling, "if you truly see me. If you still remember your promise. I will believe." And in that moment, peace settled over her like dew on the morning grass. Weeks passed, and Sarah began to feel strange changes. Her body, once still and silent, hummed with life. At first, she was afraid. She told no one, not even Abraham. Could it be? The thought of hope terrified her more than the emptiness ever had. She sat quietly, hands resting on her belly, listening. Was there truly life within her? The months crept by. Sarah grew quiet, then joyful, then afraid again. She wept in secret. She smiled in public. Abraham watched her with awe. And every time she felt a flutter inside her, she whispered, "You are real." Her faith was still shaky, but she was no longer barren in her heart. The promise had begun to grow. When Sarah was 90, her cries of labor echoed through the desert camp. Women gathered around her. Abraham waited outside, face lifted toward the sky. And then, the cry of a newborn. Sarah held the child close, tears pouring down her cheeks. "His name shall be Isaac," she said, laughter. Not the laugh of disbelief, but joy. A promise fulfilled. A miracle in her arms, every coo, every giggle, every tiny hand clasp made Sarah laugh again. She marveled at this little life. She would catch Abraham holding Isaac and whispering prayers of thanksgiving. Sarah sang lullabies under the stars and told stories of the God who brings life to barren places. Her tent, once quiet with sorrow, was now filled with laughter. But as Isaac grew, so did the tension. Hagar's son, Ishmael, mocked him. Sarah's joy was threatened. She remembered the years of pain and the risks to the promise. "Send away the slave woman and her son," she told Abraham. It was a hard choice, but she knew, Isaac was the child of covenant. God reassured Abraham, "Through Isaac shall your offspring be named." Years later, Sarah sat again beneath the setting sun, Isaac playing nearby. Her face was wrinkled, her body worn, but her heart full. She remembered the laughter of disbelief and the laughter of joy. She had doubted. She had waited. She had believed. And God had been faithful. She smiled, whispering to herself, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. Her story was no longer one of barrenness. It was one of promise fulfilled, of grace, laughter, and enduring faith.